Namaste, dear listeners, and welcome to the Iowa channel Astro In with Abhi, Oneness in Astrology and Spirituality, bringing in awareness by Abhi. Now, here, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I am talking from my awareness. My awareness means my dimension of perception, or based on my frequency, what I'm aware of, and I'm aware of whatever based on my relevant or the type of sadhana and bhakti yoga I'm involved with, which is not the end all and be all. So there's a beautiful question that was posed to me some time back, which the first time I received this question was in 2018, and then again before year in 2023 and 2024 a couple of times, and then today. Now, why I want to answer this question is because if we can understand the building blocks of what sacred geometry is, fundamentally we can make better thought decisions, or we can decide on what to think about and what not to think about. You basically understand how your thoughts shape your reality. So the question is, Abhi, please can you explain sacred geometry? Now, you've probably heard this term many, many times. We've probably went on YouTube, we went on Google, tried to understand it, and still there's a bit of a mixed emotion when it comes to it as to how to really work with it, or how to really let this work for you by understanding what sacred geometry is. So I'm gonna basically in this podcast I'm gonna talk about what is sacred geometry and the importance of it. So from my perception, sacred geometry, well, these are patterns which is existing all around us, and they create the fundamental structure, um, basically the templates of life in this universe. And the patterns can be broken down into a language of mathematics that basically rules the entirety of our visible and invisible world. So when I say visible, I'm talking about the 3D, third dimension, and the invisible, the astral dimension. So the geometrical archetypes reveal the nature of each form and its vibrational resonance. So this here symbolizes the inseparable relationship between everything and everybody. So, well, this ultimately makes up our whole matrix and the universe at large. This is the oneness, embodying the oneness. So, what exactly is the spiritual meaning behind these geometric symbols? Now, I'm going to explain sacred geometry like this here. Um, the origin of it. It is considered an ancient science, basically, that explains or explores and explains the energy patterns that create and unify all things, and reveals the precise way the energy of creation itself, how it ignites itself. So, in every natural pattern of growth or movement comes back to one or more geometric shapes. Now, the molecules of our DNA, the cornea of our eye, snowflakes, flower petals, crystals, the shell, stars, the galaxy, we are basically, we spiral within the air we breathe, and all life forms are created out of geometric codes. Now, this was also a question: how can sacred geometry improve my life? Now, by observing and contemplating sacred geometric shapes or codes, they can reveal deep wisdom, opening up to life and creation of the universe itself. So certainly they have for me personally, and I've explored them through my own healing and empowerment journey. So it is believed that the ancients considered that the experience of sacred geometry was essential to the education of the soul, which is very, very true. I believe this because I use it in my own life. Now, well, the people who were experts at this here, they knew patterns and codes, and they knew it was important for inner healing, right? And how to better understand the self. All right. Now, how do we use it? So firstly, the symbols are like codes, and they can assist you in the journey of life. But they can also be used more consciously to bring out the deep soul awakening and connection to your true self. It can also be used to open up pathways, doorways to the infinite realms, as well as connections to oneness of all life on this planet, nature, the whole world of existence, basically. So sacred geometry can be used for healing, harmonizing, rebalancing, and all levels. It connects the inner and outer, uniting all forms of life. So I think this is very very important to remember that in your meditation as well. The platonic solids, I like to call them, a thought of sacred geometric building blocks of the universe, the triangle, the triad, the 369, right? Um, Basically, the triangle symbolizing balance, harmony, completion. Rising upwards, it elevates us to a higher consciousness, and basically the circle is wholeness, oneness, never-ending cycle, the eternal, constant cycles of change, unity, perfection. Um, I would like to call the universe a circle. Where does the circle begin and where does it end? You know, and basically a square is the foundation, solidity, grounding, practicality, the earthling, the earthing of life. And the spiral, well, all shapes come back to a mathematic formula now, in it. As above, so below, connects basically your higher to your low, or your lower to your high. The spirals up to connect the physical self to the higher self. And all levels, basically. This is also referred to the Kundalini. So this is something that I spend a lot of time talking about, the spiraling effect, from your sacral to your crown. Spiraling effect is actually the upward movement, but it's more spiraling. It's spiraling. It's spiraling upwards. The spiral is connected to the flow of energy through the chakras as a spin in a circle. So the spiral is a spiral shape, has a double helix in the DNA of each cell. So now the cross lines, or the two lines, or the actual cross, this is where the heaven and earth meet, and the result of the union is mankind, symbolized by a cross. So this is where the heavens and earth meet, in between your eyes, your eyebrow, your pineal gland. This is where the heavens and earth meet. Now, the flower of life contains the seed of life. Now, if you see a flower in meditation, basically, when you're meditation, you'll see geometric shapes. Now, I like to call it the platonic solids, or the building blocks of the universe. Now, the flower of life is a physical representation of the connection with all living beings in the universe. So, it is considered a sacred symbol universally. It is said so. It's a blueprint of creation. You know? And basically, there's 5 perfect 3D forms of this: the tetrahedron, the hexahedron, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron. Now, these platonic solids are considered the foundation of everything in the physical world, revealing the unity in all things. However, if you break these platonic solids down to their simplest form, they form the triangle, square, and circle, and spiral, and the straight line. So these are the basic sacred geometric shapes which I've explained. Now the pyramid, spiral, triangle, and square is the pyramid. It includes the spiral, the triangle, and the square. Now the pyramid contains the spiral, the ratio, the triangle, and the square. The pyramid contains the number of divinity, the 3 sides to each triangle, plus the number of mankind, 4 sides of the square. It represents the relationships between source and humanity. The pyramid of Giza in Egypt was built to create the energy that facilitate connection with the spiritual realms. The top of or apex of the pyramid represents the highest point of spiritual attainment. The body of the structure is the journey or ascent to alignment, spiraling upwards. The pyramids were used for initiations and in transporting to other realms. They were used by the initiates to go through a kind of death and become transformed or reborn. The Star of David, a Merkaba, or its 2D form. The upward triangle is masculine, the downward triangle is the feminine, the two merging in perfect harmony. That's the Star of David. The Merkaba, or the interlocking triangles. Now, all sacred symbols make up the Merkaba. So, if you look at it closely, all the sacred symbols make up the Merkaba. Now, I've got so many questions regarding this, explaining about Merkaba. It can get very confusing. The basic of it you got to understand first, which is sacred geometry. Everything, these things are born of sacred geometry. They call it sacred. Why? Because it's sacred. These kind of texts were burnt in the past. I believe they were burnt. They were kept away from mankind, so that mankind is lost and easily to be controlled. So for me personally, how to apply sacred geometry. Now, basically buildings of worship. Now you'll find that they are building these. This is more for builders. I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's for art painters. Um, it's not so much to worry about if you're not a painter, you're not an artist. It's if you are just meditating and you're seeing this. This explanation. What I'm giving you is more for your understanding. If you see these things in your meditation, now pay close attention to the flower of life, the Metatron's cube, or the actual cube, or the Platonic solids that I've explained, which is the tetrahedron, the hexahedron, the octahedron, and the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron. Now, these Platonic solids, pay close attention to these shapes. The tree of life, number one, the circle, the triangle, the square. Pay attention to these shapes that you see in your meditation. Very, very important. It's part of your spiritual journey. And as from there, you can rise in frequency and you'll see much more. And everything makes sense to you after that. But fundamentally, it's quite normal to see shapes in your geometric shapes in your meditation. So that's the other thing I wanted to point out. If you're seeing shapes, if you're seeing colors, if you're seeing spiraling effects, these are all normal things. They come and they go. So don't get freaked out, right? So that's my explanation of sacred geometry from a surface. It's a surface explanation. It gets deeper than this. We'll cover this in other sessions. If anybody wants to know about this more in detail, then you can always hit me up on 076331088. Thank you very much, dear listeners. God bless you all. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Ram. Hari Bol. Goodbye.